Hi, happy Monday, ladies and gentlemen. I am not going to be here for your class today. If you are in my PM class, we're going to be going live a little bit later than usual, but I'm going to go ahead and describe to you what your work is going to look like today. So we've been working a lot with signposts for nonfiction, and what we're going to be working on today is a mid-check. So we've studied about half of the signposts, and so now I'm just checking to see how are we understanding thus far. So I know you always have the question, is this for a grade? And the answer is always yes. So I'm going to be taking a look at this one and saying, okay, does this particular student understand the author's purpose behind why the author put this into the text, right? So I am going to be looking at this. I'm going to be looking at this assessment as well as the assessment that's going to be coming later on to see your grade, okay? So make sure that you do your very best work on this one. So what you're going to do is you're going to choose any nonfiction article of your choice, right? The whole reason why I teach you signposts is because I just want you to be able to pick up any nonfiction article of your choice and then be able to fill out the signpost, okay? So once you have chosen the article of your choice and you've read it, and I said make sure that it's a pretty good lengthy article, then what you're going to do is you're going to click here for the graphic organizer. So I'm going to click here to show you a little bit about what this looks like. And here are the three signposts that you are going to be reading from for contrasts and contradictions, word gaps, numbers and stats. So those are the areas into which you are going to be honing in on to make sure that you are going to be getting the correct grade. So I'm going to kind of review each signpost just so you can know and kind of understand while you're filling this out. So if you remembered, we talked about, let's look at the first one, contrasts and contradictions. When the author shows you a difference in what you knew or what was happening in the text, or a difference in two or more things in the text. And so to kind of help keep that in mind as well, I put that question here. What is the difference and why would the author put it in there? So let's go through our example that we had already gone through in class. So if you remember when we watched this video and we took a look at that video, we were like, wow, it really showed us the differences of what it would be like to go to school in a hut in Africa. Now, that's not my answer. The answer is why. Why would the author put that information? The author wanted us to know how privileged we are here in America that we get to go to school that has air conditioning, where we have desks, where we have smaller class sizes, right? So that's why the author put that in. So you've kind of got to get into the mind of the writer, okay? So there's the first signpost. The second signpost that you're going to be reading for is going to be word gaps. So if you remember, when we look at word gaps, we're just saying, is there a word that I don't know? And if I don't know it, I highlight it and then I write the definition off to the side. So even if you've heard the word, so I know specifically I'm just thinking about this. Ooh, where did she go? There it is. I'm specifically thinking about the article where we read here, where a lot of you were like, ooh, I've heard of the word vintage, for example. And I'm like, yeah, you might have heard it, but do you truly understand what that meant? Or especially the word garment. You might have heard it and thought that it meant something, but this is your opportunity to look it up. So that's what word gaps really help us do, is again, we need to stop reading, take the time to look it up to make sure that we have the correct understanding. Then the third signpost that you're going to be reading for is numbers and stats. So this is the time where you look at a number that was given to you and that the author gave you, and you're thinking, why did they put that in there? So the example that I'm thinking of was the one that we already had done together, was when we talked about a one-room house for 2 years, one of thousands of mud brick homes, and it holds about 50,000 refugees. Why would the author put that information in there? If you put just to tell us how many there are, I'm going to ask you that annoying question like I've been talking to you. Why? Why tell us how many? So you're really not answering that question yet. You're not giving me that note yet until you answer that question of why. Why would they tell you how significant of a problem it is? To tell you how bad it is, right? To tell you how bad it is in that specific country of Afghanistan. So that's where we're kind of going with this. So today is just our time. It's a mid check for me to see, okay, how are we doing? I'm just kind of gauging to see if we understand the signposts before I move on to the next two. So when you are done completing this, and again, there are only 3. The reason why I'm not having you look for so many is I'm not looking for how many you can do. I'm looking at how well you can get them done. Make sure to tell me what article or book you read. I went ahead and then put in here into your assignment on Canvas to say Get Epic, Storyworks or Scope, or Newsela. You have to tell me the name of the book, so if I have a question, I can go check it. So it can't just be like, you're like, ooh, I picked up this book, Mrs. Frank, and this is what I'm doing. It has to be one of those books that I can go and look at myself if I have questions. So if you are in my AM class, that is all you have to worry about. If you are in my PM class, I'm going to go ahead and go there now. So AM class, you guys can just stop the video at this time. Don't want to confuse you anymore. Then for my PM class, we're going to be going live at 12:30. So 12:30 is when we're going to be going live. We're going to be having I put on here, we're going to be having our peer conferences and then talking about what that looks like. So what you're going to do is you're going to log in with me at 12:30. So you're going to be working on what I just explained, the signposts up until now. And then at that 12:30 time, 12:30 is when you're going to be logging back in and saying, okay, like we're going to have class and then we're going to talk about writing conferences. Then I'm going to be having you pair up with one another and virtually, and then you guys are going to have a peer conference, and we're almost done with our informational writing. So I am so excited, and I can't wait to see you guys all at 12:30. See you then.